Nice. All right.
I can't tell if it went live. Isn't there usually a counter somewhere?
Yeah, it's up in the top corner. It's live.
Just says.
Yeah, we're live.
YouTube just kicked in. We're live.
Hello to all you Patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 232 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the #1 call-in legal advice show in Canada. We're recording on May 28th, 2020. Joining me this week is Gavin and Dave. As always, my name is Andrew, and I'll be your host.
We'd love to hear your feedback about the show. Please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. Version of the show is available on Stitchers, iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, all kinds of other places. So check us out if you don't already do it. Tell your friends, tell them to go check it out, and then give us feedback on what we're doing, because we've changed the show around a little. We'd like to know if you like it. Not really.
I'm glad we got in on the ground floor on Spotify, and I finally got that fixed. Now that Joe Rogan is on Spotify, Spotify is the only podcast platform that matters.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get Rogan on the show one day.
I bet he'd be psyched. He'd love to meet us, I bet. We need your help.
I promise not to... Sorry, I should do my thing and let Dave do his. Yeah. Instagram at Canadian Patriot Podcast or Facebook /Canadian Patriot Podcast. Sorry, Dave, give her.
No worries. I thought you said yours. It's all good. We need your help. To support the show, visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 per episode. The more you pledge, the better the rewards are. Show you're not a communist and buy a CPP t-shirt for just $19.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com homepage and follow the link on the right.
Okay, it's time for my favorite segment. It's called What Are You Drinking? Where I ask you what you're drinking. I'm going to start with Gavin and go clockwise. Gavin, what are you drinking?
I am drinking the Black Pill again, which is Crown Black and Coke Zero.
The Black Pill.
Crown Black, eh?
Yeah.
Interesting. Let's try that.
What are you drinking, Dave?
Just keeping it light tonight. Mick Ultra. We're during the middle of the week, so got to keep those calories down.
You know, there's no calories in whiskey.
Not true, and it's about averages, bro. I'm drinking Coors Original because, you know, I accidentally bought that case and it's almost gone.
I was gonna say, do you still keep cracking it open, like expecting to taste something good, and then?
No, I'm at the point now where I'm like, God damn it! How much longer do I have to drink this swill?
Drink harder.
Wow, I'm almost out of my Coronacation beers. So the day that we got the work from home notice at the office, on my way home, before I actually went home, I went and bought more beer than I would normally buy in several months because I didn't know when the next time the beer store would be open again was. I didn't think they would be an essential service, silly me. So I bought several months worth of beer in one go.
As did I. I just finished like the last 6-pack, and I'm still got like half a 26 or a Crown, and a like a shot of the Captain's left from my like $300 buy before it shut down.
I mean, got to be prepared, right?
That's right. I ain't waiting no line or.
Well, I think we talked about this on before. This is kind of more of a Canadian prepper podcast thing. Ian can't be here today. He sends his regrets. Their show, they make fun of one another if they're not on. I'm not going to do that. I just miss Ian's delightful West Coast commentary. We've talked about on the show before that I have a fairly well-stocked pantry, and one of the things that I stock is a reasonably large collection of alcohol, but it's all liquor. And it's like 4 kinds of rum and 4 kinds of whiskey. Right. So like I have a lot of alcohol, but it's only 4 kinds of rum or 4 kinds of whiskey. But,
I didn't hear anything bad.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's do the main topic this week. We're doing legal challenges. It's likely that everybody in the gun community has heard by now what's going on. Everybody and their dog is suing someone, except for us. We can't afford that.
Yet.
So, there's a bunch of actions. I think we'll just kind of go through them, talk about them individually, see what we end up with. Hopefully people are enjoying the new, more topical format of the show that we're trying for. So the first legal challenge that came out was the Cassandra Parker KKS Tactical Supplies application for judicial review. This is being filed by Solomon Friedman, who's one of the preeminent firearms attorneys in the country, and supported by the National Firearms Association.
Yeah, I think that's an appropriate way to put that.
Yeah.
So they are a small family-run business. Cassandra is the co-owner of KKS Tactical Supplies. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see like the NFA podcast. The NFA has a podcast. First of all, that was news to me.
I'm anti-cancer, so I probably didn't watch it.
I watched it because someone who I hold in high regard sent me a comment about someone else being named in it that I hold in high regard, and I was like, wait, what? The NFA did what to who? And then I wasted an hour of my life that I will never get back again.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was watching it, but then I realized I was watching To Catch a Predator. Like, I mean, I guess we shouldn't really be crapping all over them because, you know, they did step up and, you know, we're all a big family. But, like, I can't watch it. Like, you look at a screenshot of it when they have, like, the group of them up there and, like, yeah.
I'm not sure that we're the one to talk. I mean, the pot calling the kettle black, except for the obvious racisms that I just did.
Yeah.
I don't know. Their 2019 antics have left a bad taste in most people's mouths. So.
Oh, absolutely. But like, I don't know. Maybe visually they're not the greatest to put forward as a representative, like an official representative of the firearms community. We're not official representatives. Like, we aren't a giant group that's an organization for gun. We're a bunch of drunks on the internet. So it's okay for us to look like assholes.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm willing to buy that. Keep going.
But yeah, no, I can't watch it. No, I can't.
I watched it. I think that Solomon Friedman has a sound argument.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes because it is. I enjoy the approach that they're taking for a variety of reasons. KKS Tactical Supplies says that their business has effectively been rendered worthless because of their loss in inventory, because they can't do anything with all of the restricted and now prohibited firearms that they had.
Yep.
Which 100% factual, but not an approach that has having been taken in the other legal approaches that I've seen so far.
Yeah. I mean, they can't send them back because they've been permanently exported out of the U.S. if they were made in the U.S., and other countries likely have the same issue. So
I have a clarifying question on that. Maybe one of you guys know, or maybe I should have interned in the Ordering Council. I thought that it was not possible to legally permanently export any of the items that were listed on the Ordering Council as a now prohibited firearm.
So I believe if you go through the thing, it says that you are allowed to export them. You're going to need to ask for permission to do that. Because
I was under the impression that you couldn't export them as well. I know we can't import any new ones, but I thought
they will allow you to export it, but you're going to need to go through a business that has the appropriate licensing to do that. But the problem being, if you happen to have any of these items that are made in Russia or China and you're trying to export them to the US. Isn't going to work. And if you have like a quality made AR or other firearm that was manufactured in the US, you can't export it into the US because it was permanently exported out of the US.
Yeah,
permanently being the key word.
Yeah,
so temporarily
sale is basically impossible.
Yeah.
And
even not for sale. So if you were to move to the US and want to bring your guns with you, you're not selling them to yourself. Right? But you can't do that either because, like I said, they were permanently exported out of the country.
Well, and you're also on the hook with some not U.S. made quality firearms.
Allegedly.
The Tavor and the Colt Canada ARs, for example, are considered machine guns by the ATF for some unknown reason.
Yeah, I think
not that the Tavor is on the list. I'm just saying, like there are firearms in circulation here that are non-restricted.
Yeah,
that the ATF classifies as machine guns for some reason.
All of our shorties.
I think the Colt has to do with like the interior dimensions, and there may be not enough material milled out to make it a full auto, but more
than
material milled out than is a semi-auto, if you will.
If it ain't got a third hole in an auto sear, I don't want to stick my anything in it.
Auto sear pin?
That's right.
Yeah.
Instructions unclear. Things are stuck in auto sear.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Tavor one, I think it has to do with the trigger pack that we use here in Canada, but I don't know.
Andrew, can you speak to the affidavits that are listed down near the bottom? I see Phil Odell from Odell Engineering is one I recognize. A couple others.
Oh yeah, this is on
Matthew
the gun
Overton.
block. So let's do the affidavit part from the gun blog. So the list of affidavits, obviously Cassandra Parker is the lead applicant. Callan Langman, who is a practicing medical physician.
I just made friends with him on Facebook, actually. He's a very smart guy.
He is very smart and he is very well spoken, and he does a lot of statistical type analysis. For being a physician, he really knows his numbers. Gary Mauser, who is an economist and a retired professor from Simon Fraser University. So, Gary Mauser is a prolific opinion piece article writer and also really up on his numbers, although more from a economic standpoint than from a statistical analysis of the impacts standpoint. Matthew Overton is a retired, I believe, Major General. He might be a Brigadier General.
I think it was Major General.
I believe he's a retired Major General. He is the patron or president of the Dominion of Canada Rifle Association, and I have to apologize for not having that on the top of my head. Dave and I had the opportunity to meet General Overton when we were at Nationals, and he is a very well-spoken,
very
highly
upstanding
regarded
person.
Oh, exactly. And being that he is effectively the person that runs the Dominion of Canada Rifle Association, he had a lot of good things to say on the DCRA communication around this. So it's interesting how the DCRA is involved and how their chairperson is running things. Ryan Harriman, SFRC Ammo Source. Chris Youngston, he's the owner of CanadaAmmo.com. Ryan Leaf, he's a former MP for Yukon. And Phil Odell of Odell Engineering in Ontario. Also, Warren Downing, founder of Quest, and a former employee of Colt Canada. And I don't know anything about Warren Downing. This one is not somebody that I've had the chance to meet. Everybody else on the list, I think I've talked to at some form or another. Gary Mauser and Callan Langman just through the Facebook, Matthew Overton in person, and then other people through the firearms industry. So I think this is a solid list of affidavits. Like everybody on here, with the exception of the one name that I don't recognize, is all well-spoken and well-recognized in the industry as being experts in the field.
I mean, with the one guy, though, would you say that he is the very model of a modern Major General?
I would not call him I would not call him a pirate of Penzance. No. No.
Just out of curiosity, yeah.
I think that the other part of the argument that Friedman's going after with the lack of a definition of a military style assault firearm and the interchangeability between tactical and assault, and there was a third term that they were using interchangeably.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a good argument to possess, right? Because the Order in Council doesn't make sense because the Order in Council says that it doesn't make sense. That's kind of the circular logic argument that we get into. It's an assault rifle because we call it an assault rifle, but we don't bother to define assault rifles, so it's an assault rifle. So,
And technically,
interesting
but
approach.
an assault rifle by any other term, and
Yeah,
by fact, when you're using facts,
yeah.
Well,
they're already banned.
I mean, they're trying to use the old definition of pornography, where it's like, I don't know what it is, but when you see it, you know it. Because that doesn't really work with firearms, because as evidenced by the Mossberg Plinkster in the plastic AR, that's obviously not an assault rifle, even though it looks like one. So, not that there is such a thing as an assault rifle, but
well, I mean, let's put on our history hats for a moment, and I mean, our history hats might have death's heads on them, but like, is not like the assault rifle like the original granddaddy assault rifle, like a German machine gun from World War II? Is that not?
yes,
The
I mean
MP44, like all the way.
no, it would actually be the Sturmgewehr. So the
Sturmgewehr, that's right.
STG-44 is the original assault rifle. If you
Right,
were,
and there's some criteria that the German arms manufacturers use to develop the Sturmgewehr 44. Intermediate cartridge. It's some sort of little Kurtz cartridge, right? Like it's like 7mm Kurtz or something, a little stubby Kurtz cartridge. Rock and roll switch, so you can fire it in full auto. Detachable magazine.
Yeah.
Right, and from these criteria, from the development,
and I think the shoulder thing that goes up was on there too.
And you need a barrel shroud.
Yeah,
or barrel shrouds are optional. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, only they call it einen shoulder thingy.
Das shoulder thingy.
Yeah.
I mean, that only makes sense.
Yeah.
So those are the three sort of criteria, and then the U.S. military goes further to define what they consider an assault rifle when they're describing various man-portable small arms. Small arms being things that, like, you can carry as an individual soldier, as opposed to large arms, which you mount on tanks and planes and ships,
tripods and stuff like that.
Yeah, or T-Rex arms that are like this.
You have to be particular about tripods, because that gets into a weird, because you can have man-portable machine guns that can be mounted on tripods. They are still considered small arms.
Yeah.
So the U.S. Army has a different definition for assault rifle, which I think is very confusing because it's assault rifle versus assault weapon. But the U.S. Army uses the granddaddy Sturmgewehr 44 in order to define assault rifles. Select fire, intermediate cartridge, detachable box mag. It's not 8mm Kurtz or whatever the Germans were using.
Yeah.
5.56.
Whatever.
But the other characteristics remain the same. Intermediate cartridge, detachable box magazine, full auto.
But even then, with all of that, there is no legal definition.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like, these are not legalese, right? These are not legal definitions. This is just the accepted terminology within the industry.
Yeah.
So we don't have machine guns in Canada.
Haven't since 1977.
I mean, I understand how the whole assault weapon thing can be confusing to people that are not in the industry. Like, this is the whole, like, clips versus magazines autism.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, we all know when the cop on TV says that he put another clip into his service pistol, he means magazine.
Yeah.
It also means they need a better technical advisor.
He probably needs to update his vocabulary a little bit.
Right, but we know as informed firearms owners what they're getting at. So we know when they say assault rifle, or assault weapon, they mean a rifle with a detachable box magazine in an intermediate caliber that is capable of fully automatic fire, as opposed to like a machine gun. Right.
Yeah. And I think the other thing people are like the people that don't understand, like, know anything about firearms is like the AR-15 is not capable of automatic fire whatsoever. It's just physically is not.
I mean, it is.
You need the third
with some modifications, which then turns it from an AR-15 into an M16 or an M4, which is a different fire.
Milling and CNC, and you've turned it into a different.
Yeah,
it
much like
a machine gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, good. The Albertan is listening, and he fact checked me. It is 8mm Kurtz. Hers? I thought it was pronounced with a T, but it's spelled without it. I don't know.
Where's Better
8
Andrew when
millimeter.
you need him?
Yeah, I don't know.
Better Andrew didn't know Tyler had a certain individual
Yeah.
had to tell him how to say it.
So, not a machine gun.
Yeah.
Let's look at the CCFR because that kind of wraps up the NFA thing. I guess of note, the thing worth mentioning, the NFA is doing this as an in support. So, from what I understand, the NFA is gathering funding to give to Solomon Friedman's office because Friedman's office is not set up to collect small dollar donations.
Yeah. Which, is nice of them.
Yep, it's a thing.
Yep.
Gavin, you want to talk about CCFR? You are the reigning field officer.
Yeah, I guess the CCFR one is a little bit different in that the CCFR is actually the ones that are doing this. They're putting up the money. They're named as one of the applicants and all of that. So I guess the applicants in it is the CCFR, and then our good friend Rod Giltaca, Ryan Stacy of International Barrows, and 6 wins at nationals, and various other shiny gold and silver plates and medals and all kinds of fancy stuff that he's won through using his assault rifle, both as active duty and retired. Maccabee Defense, ATRS, Wolverine Supplies, the business, just to specify, because later we're going to be talking about John Hipwell a little bit. And then Lawrence Knowles, who I believe is the artist in BC, a native gentleman. So those are the applicants.
Formerly known as... No, not that artist?
No, not Prince.
Oh.
His town where he's from is going through some stuff today, though. That's for sure. But Lawrence is a status Indian, according to the government. He's got the paperwork to prove it. But I guess they've got
he's Haida. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've talked about this, but I've definitely seen this dude's art before.
Yeah, I think he's got a bunch of like paintings and stuff of people like shooting guns and whatnot. Like, it's kind of cool. But so there's 2 parts to the CCFR thing. They also have an application for judicial review based on the grounds that the Ordering Council has inconsistent reasoning, extraneous considerations, and circular logic, and no supporting evidence. So they're kind of taking the same approach as the previous one and saying that, like, you're saying that these things can't be used for sporting purposes, yet here we are using them for sporting purposes, and that they're no place for hunting, yet people are still using them for hunting. So, there's this weird thing, and it's also like, we can't use some of these for hunting because you say we can't use them for hunting, but in any other real country,
perfectly reasonably to go hunting.
you're allowed to use them for hunting, right?
Well, even in this country, we have used AR-15s in this country for hunting, and I don't mean prior to 1995.
Yeah.
I mean, like, last year we talked about this in BC. We hired a bunch of Kiwis to shoot deers from helicopters using AR-15s. Yeah.
But it's okay because they were from helicopters.
No, it's okay because they were contract hunters from New Zealand.
In helicopters.
P.S. Where do we get that license? I need a helicopter and an AR-15 for reasons.
Yeah.
Do we know any pilots on the show?
Yes.
Please email us.
Yeah.
I wonder if we know any rotary aircraft pilots.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sure we could find one.
I wonder if his skills are transferable.
I wonder how slowly we can get a plane to fly without stalling out.
You get like a good bush plane. You can go pretty slow.
Yeah, I'm in. Either way, I'm in. Yeah.
Tip the wings, matey.
So yeah, along with the judicial review, the CCFR has a charter challenge, which is based on unjustified.
They're doing 2. They're doing an application for judicial review and a charter challenge. They are separate.
Yes, it's all included in the same thing.
Badass. Okay, I thought it was a single filing.
It is, but they've got both things in the filing. So they have the judicial review and a charter challenge based on unjustified infringement on Section 7 of the charter, which is the right to life, liberty, and security of the person. So they're saying that this goes against the principles of fundamental justice and fails the Oakes test. It also is in contravention of Section 35 of the Constitution Act of 1982 and contravention of the Bill of Rights, as the regulation and reclassifications are inconsistent with and contrary to the Bill of Rights. There was no due process, and reclassification done by the RCMP also had no due process. So they're kind of taking a two-pronged approach and kind of going after a few different things.
And don't put all your ducks in one basket, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, and if you read through like the 40-something page application, I mean, they highlight a few things, and it's kind of some of the questions we all want definitive answers to. Like, so they've named as like the government in this, but then specifically the RCMP firearms lab for the nonsense where they've kind of gone after the fact and changed
making
FRTs.
Shit up after the fact. Yeah.
Well, they've changed FRTs to prohibit it, even though it isn't anything that is named in it. So I mean, that's why like Maccabee
the
and
Mossberg.
ATRS. Well, Maccabee and the ATRS are named in this one. That is, you know, they make AR-like products, but the
they're not
firearms lab has deemed these to not be AR variants. They don't fall under any of the other criteria of the Ordering Council, yet somehow their FRTs have been changed.
Yeah. Without actually telling anybody. I mean, this is all.
Yeah. So
you have to find out about it on the internet.
Yeah.
I like the CCFRs going after the FRT change, because if we can repeal this FRT change, that means maybe we can repeal the FRT system.
Yeah, or at the very minimum, gets the stuff that they changed after the fact that's not in the OIC, like the ATRS and the Maccabees, back. Which would be
I mean, yes, but then the government will just do another Ordering Council, and then we have to fight that. So I mean, like, we're just kicking the can down the road. But hey, let's kick that can.
But it shows
kicking it right in the nuts.
Either incompetence or maliciousness on the RCMP's part, which I guess is yet to be decided.
That RCMP?
Yeah. You know, because, you know, you said this isn't an AR-15, and now you were doing this without telling anybody.
Yeah.
Like, and that's bad.
Like, I cringe to think about what happens if somebody gets pulled over with their Maccabee.
It does seem to be that recently the RCMP has started to mail out to people the thing telling them that these are the things that have been banned, except it doesn't list all of the FRTs that have been prohibited. It just says AR-15. So if you don't have a Facebook account,
because
did you get it?
RCMP,
not yet.
I haven't received one yet, but
me neither.
The internet seems to be getting, not from the Canadian Firearms Program, from an RCMP office in, I believe, Ottawa. They are mailing potentially affected firearms owners a general letter, not the actual Ordering Council, not actual legal advice, not actual directives on their particularly owned firearms. It's like a one-page English and French brochure that says if you own one of these 9 types of affected firearms, then you can't do anything with it. And they don't discuss all of the options that are even listed in the Ordering Council.
Yeah.
It's very vague. It's like one page from what I saw.
Yes, but at least they are notifying people, as opposed to like the whole Swiss Arms 858 fiasco. The first go
are they notifying firearms owners though?
Well, it's been a month. Like, what happens in that month? Like, I don't have internet, and
but that's the thing. So like your Maccabees and your ATRS, that's where you're still screwed, because
you're still screwed. But I mean, like, how is one to know?
Step back for 1 second. So let's deal with the Maccabee, because that's the harder problem in a minute. Let's deal with the easy problem. The RCMP has a list of everyone who owns an AR-15 and their current mailing address, because all of our legal AR-15s are registered.
Yeah.
So it's taken a month to start to receive letters from the RCMP for firearms owners who may be affected. And again, the government has a list of every legal firearms owner in the country. Whether they have a restricted or not, they have your mailing address.
Yeah.
So why is it taking a month to send a letter to all the firearms owners to tell them that this is coming? And B, why are we not sending a letter specifically to AR-15 owners or other restricted firearms owners who are affected by this to say, hey, you own one of these. This is the registration number for this thing. You can't do sweet fuck all with it now. You can keep it in its safe.
Yeah.
Also, you can continue to store it as though it was its previous classification, which I feel like is not actual legal advice and would lose in court. Because if it became prohibited and the police charge you with unsafe storage of a prohibited firearm, I feel like the RCMP pamphlet that you may or may not have received is not going to win.
I'm pretty sure, though, in the order in council, it says that you could store it as it was previously classified.
Does it say that in the OIC?
I am pretty sure that I have seen it in the order in council or from other government sources.
Yeah,
Maybe
see,
it was
that's
the
what I
RCMP,
mean. Like,
but like
I don't trust other government sources. Bill Blair's Twitter is not how we make law in this country.
No, I know, but because I mean, the thing that makes it really funny is that if you had allegedly a 37 mil launcher that was previously not considered a firearm, there is no obligation to store that in any sort of locked manner whatsoever.
Right, it is less than a restricted, less than a non-restricted.
It is now a prohibited device that I allegedly don't have to lock up.
Okay, so
It's just the shittiest piece of legislation. Well, it's not even legislation. It's the shittiest thing I've ever seen written, really.
I mean, I don't really know how this is so difficult for I know that they can't reasonably send out a letter to the people that own the non-restricteds. But we have a list of everyone with a non-restricted firearms license in the country. It's
just
only
say, hey,
2.5
you have one of these. Be careful. Or don't do this.
Well, it's only 2 million letters. I mean, which is not an insubstantial amount of letters, but
they managed to get out more than that when it's census time.
Census, old style taxes, not now because everything's online, but they used to do all paper taxes.
Yeah.
The what do you call it? The voter registration information card thing. It's got a name.
Yeah. Voter registration card.
We can send out we can send out millions of pieces of mail from the government to our citizenry.
Yeah.
So 2 million letters can't be sent out at a reasonable amount of time. So, and I'm sorry, a month is not a reasonable amount of time. With this,
no.
A reasonable amount of time was to notify everyone when this came into force.
What's the jail sentence if you get caught with like transporting?
Well, I mean, the RCMP was able to shut down their website in advance of any of this happening in order to make stuff happen. You think they could have had these cards printed in advance and ready to go, so that they could have been mailed out on the 2nd.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at with this is if the coming into force was immediate, then the notification should have been immediate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 100%. At least they've done something to get the word out to those that don't live on the internet. So like your older generation people that only look at mail. Yeah, it's late, but at least it does that. But the problem, like Dave's getting at, is like there's stuff that they've gone and prohibited that isn't going to be named on that. So if you happen to own an
one
ATRS
of those shotguns, an ATRS,
yeah, or any of those shotguns, or like a 460 Weatherby, or like things that you may be out hunting with, or just like own because you like target shooting or whatever. You may not
because you can afford
because you're
a shot.
Yeah, you're gonna get that thing and go, well, I don't have one of these. I don't have a XCR or a Scorpion and an MPX, and all that. Like, go. Yeah, I'm good. Even though you're not, but you are, because I mean the FRT isn't a legal document either. But if you get caught with it, that's what the cops are going to refer to determine whether the thing you have is prohibited or not.
So I understand the argument that the FRT is not a legal document, but also,
well, you're going to have to fight to prove.
Right. I was going to say, like, I can't buy a gun that should be non-restricted, but because it has a restricted class FRT, I don't mean like an AR-15 that's like named order in council, like named restricted. I mean, like, there are guns in the FRT system that are, in my opinion, not classified in accordance with their technical characteristics.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
But like that's yeah.
I don't know, man. That whole
But yeah, it's
FRP
that
thing, we just need to be abolished.
yeah, because
Well,
it's
just
dumb.
the
Like
way it's being used is absolute bullshit. You have to make it public, and it has to be easily accessible if you're going to prohibit shit on it. And when not tell somebody, at the very minimum, somebody needs to be able to at least be like, well, I better just, I'm going to do my due diligence and make sure none of my stuff is on the list. But you can't even do that. So what good is it?
Yeah, you can't check the list.
yeah,
Exactly.
that's the other dumb thing is that we don't have
Well,
access
actually,
to that.
On that note, we don't officially, but we kind of do. Listeners should go check out. I think it's called Arma List.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a like a list that shadows the actual list kind of thing.
Yeah,
But it's
some
like a day or
dedicated
so
people
delayed,
with
yeah.
access are copying and pasting data off of the real FRT and into a shadow copy.
Mm.
Armalytics,
that's right. Thanks, Alberta.
Armalytics, thank you.
Yeah.
Good interning. Let's do. Oh no, I've closed the show notes. This is the worst.
Uh-oh. That's it.
I
Show's
think
over.
the next thing is the no.
Mr.
Show's
Cox.
not over. Yes, J.R. Cox. J.R. Cox owns the Shooting Edge and the Calgary Shooting. Sorry, the Shooting Edge in Calgary and Target Sports Canada near Toronto, and he has also filed a lawsuit, and they have managed to raise almost $75,000. Let me just refresh the page. Hey, it broke $75,000
Nice.
on their GoFundMe. It was like
Heck,
74,000 and some change earlier when I was looking. So they had a goal of $60,000. They're now, as of recording time, over $75,000. I think the application is going to be based on the arbitrariness of it. Again, I have not read through the actual application, and this is not being done in a incredibly public way. It's two Calgary lawyers that are taking this on, and it's James Cox, the Shooting Edge, Stephen Arena, and Sterling Arms International Incorporated, and they're filing it against the Attorney General. So, yeah.
Did you see the update as of today for the government response to the filing? Do you want me to read it?
No. Yeah, give her.
It says here, the government of Canada is aware of proceedings that have been filed challenging the order in council passed on May 1st. The government is confident that the order in council is both reasonable and constitutional. The governor in council, which is made up of cabinet ministers, has had the authority to make firearms regulations since 1969, including listing firearms as prohibited or restricted. This criminal code authority was used to amend the firearms regulations on May 1st, 2020. Source, Department of Justice, response to the gunblog.ca, May 28th.
Well,
that's exciting. Let's go to court and sort that out.
Yeah, and they are right in that they do have the ability and the right to do that. But the problem is there's that little clause in there that says they can't make anything prohibited that is used in sporting or hunting. That's the part where they're getting after them, I believe. That's the judicial review part where they're saying, yeah, you can do this, except there's this little clause in there that says that you can't do it if there's a reason to have this as a sporting thing or a hunting thing. So that's why they've got all the experts on sporting and hunting to prove that these things are indeed sporting rifles.
Every single day in Canada, safely.
Yeah.
I have pictures to prove it. We all do.
Well, I hope that Cox does well on this. I think that this is I think this one was very, very popular, and I think they hit their original funding goal in like 4 days. I don't think $75,000 or $60,000 that they originally targeted is going to see them through their court fees.
Yeah.
No,
but I think there's
$60,000 gets you filed.
It's a good start, and I think that there's going to be enough people vested in this that as more money is needed, the funds will be raised by, as you can see, lots of different sporting clubs are giving large donations. I don't think that it's out of the possibility for any of the ones that we're part of to try and get some of our money thrown in at some point. I think
some of them
that
maybe more or less than others, but
Mhm.
I think on that note, that's a good point to bring up. If you're a member of a firearms organization, a hunt club, a gun club, a rod and gun club, an organized sporting body like IPSC or your Provincial Rifle Association, anything like that, any of the Olympic associations, if you're involved in the shooting sports, you probably are involved in a shooting sport. So go talk to the people that run that sport or run that club or run that whatever and find out how much money you have in reserve, and then ponder how you can get them to give that to one of these legal actions through some sort of a donation.
Talk it over, see which one you think is in your best interest or which one you think has the best chance, and
which
and
one
honestly do your part.
Spread it around.
You spread it around, yeah.
And I'm pretty sure we mentioned this on a previous show where there's some people that feel that because their gun club or organization is a not-for-profit, they're not allowed to be involved politically. That's not true. They are.
Sort of.
As long as they're not a charitable organization.
As long as they're not a charitable organization, because that could put your charitable status in jeopardy. Thank you, Tamil Tigers, for effing that tax thing up for everybody. So, as long as your not-for-profit corporation is not a registered charity in Canada, then you can engage in
support.
I'm not even sure what the right word is. It's not lobbying, because that's different. It's just like political advocacy.
Supporting stuff, political interests that
you
benefit your organization.
You can't lobby, but you can be political.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And lobbying is its whole own special thing. If you're going to lobby the government of Canada, your organization has to register with the Office of Lobbying, and your paid lobbyist, you have to have somebody on your staff who spends a certain amount of time lobbying, that is meeting with and discussing policy with government officials. And you should talk to the Office of Lobbying about that, because they have a bunch of rules, and your organization can probably do it, but your organization, unless they're the CCFR, I can assure you with a great deal of confidence, you're not involved in lobbying, because you do not have a registered political lobbyist, because only the CCFR has a registered political lobbyist in terms of pro-firearms organizations. You can go and look up who is a registered lobbyist with the government. It's on the Office of Lobbying.
Yep.
So go talk to your gun club or your hunt club or your fishing derby club or your four-wheel club or your whatever, and figure out, like, if firearms are involved in some way, how you can finagle some money out of that to pitch into the fight.
Every dollar helps.
Yeah, I think Barrie Gun Club was the big winner this week. They said $7,500 to the CCFR.
Something like that.
I mean, some clubs have been putting up some massive numbers for these
$10,000, $20,000.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm very proud of the community for stepping up like that. It's awesome.
So let's do the last one. Is we touched on a moment earlier. John Hipwell is the founder owner of Wolverine Supplies in Verdun, Manitoba. John has engaged Ed Burlew. He's the lawyer that gave the legal opinion to the CSSA about the shotgun stuff, and he's been involved in a bunch of gun law stuff before. He is also, I think, one of Canada's preeminent firearms lawyers. It's probably him and Solomon Friedman are vying for the top spot, but they're both in the top 3. John Hipwell has personally engaged Ed Burlew to file an application for judicial review against the Ordering Council, and he is also looking for some money to help fund that. They're looking for $100,000 through GoFundMe, and they're over $30,000 as we record this, and I think that's been up for a few days.
Yeah.
If I knew how to use GoFundMe, I could tell you how long it's actually been open for.
It's been open for 3 days. 414 people in 3 days. $30,418 currently as I stare at it now, and I'm about to add some.
I mean, I guess that's the
Well-
one good thing about having this whole Coronas thing happen. All of the gun
People
owners
got
have
free
had
time.
well, they've got free time and they've got money that they haven't been able to spend. So
It's very true. I haven't had this much money in my account in many, many years.
Well, and I get that, and I think we're going to be in a lot of that situation, but I still think we have. I mean, not that every dollar doesn't count, and not that Dave's
Yeah.
extra overtime at work isn't a worthy thing to give to this instead of chastity or charity or whatever her name is.
Mhm.
But I think that your gun club, where we have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank for
absolutely.
a rainy day, I'd like
this
to.
is the rainy day.
Yeah. This is the rainy day. Yeah,
It's the
pouring.
fucking it's the black fucking clouds out there and storming pretty hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not really worried about paying the property tax
Yeah.
and putting a new roof on the gun club in 2 or 3 years. I'm more worried about like, are
Being
we
able
even
to
going to
shoot there,
have
yeah.
a gun club in 2 or 3
Yeah.
years?
2 or 3
Yeah.
years, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're worried if it's going to be raining or not, there's a guy named Noah and he's building a boat. Like that's the situation we're in right now.
That
And it's
really-
going to be a
it
very,
really is.
very, very tippy boat. And it's located in Canmore. He's related to a guy named Mike. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Hipwell has got this filing going. This is apparently going to be the 6th filing. I think it'll be the last one to get in under the wire because I believe there is a
Deadline.
limit on how soon you need to get these in with the ordering council. Not that we can't sue the government for other fun things later, but I mean specifically for the ordering council, I think we have a 30-day window to challenge it. So Hipwell is approaching it slightly differently. He's doing it more on behalf of businesses, of which he is an owner of one of those businesses. A large part of it goes towards the sporting purposes argument, particularly with the items over 10,000 joules worth of energy. So your 50 BMGs and your 460 Weatherbees and your all your
375
other
Shaytax.
yes, that
Yeah.
piece, because it is arbitrary and confusing and circular, and I think that is another good argument to have.
well, especially when you look at like, I mean, if they're worried about people having like crazy long distance sniper rifles, there are many other rounds capable of those distances that are under that 10,000.
And they also don't cost your firstborn and your left leg.
And
I'm not
there's
gonna
also
I'm not going to try and
Yeah.
give people ideas, but hey, Dave, you ever shoot anything at $1,000?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
using like a 308 hunting rifle.
Yeah, my hunting rifle, exactly.
Yeah, me too, buddy. Me too. So I'm not saying I wouldn't mind shooting a 50 BMG, but I don't need a 50 BMG to hit something at 1,000 yards.
yeah.
Like I said,
there's
I
also
also
those rifles
like
like
wish
the
to have money
460.
for other stuff, like buying food and stuff.
Yeah, but like the 460, like that's not a long distance caliber rifle.
No, that's a shoot an
meant-
elephant in the face rifle.
Yeah, so like, if they're worried about long distance sniper kills and things like that because they say those have been used.
Because it's such a
things,
huge
it's
problem
like-
in Canada. But anyway,
Yeah, because everyone's got like $8,000 on a Barrett.
Well,
like,
I mean,
Plus
as
class.
the arrogant worms explained to us, Canada is really big.
it's true. They are not wrong.
So you need a rifle.
I
that
mean-
can really
I mean,
get out there and
the price of entry is like all you really need on that. I mean, you don't the PAL. You never mind the PAL. The price of entry on any of those firearms above 10,000 joules,
I mean,
pretty much inhibits almost 99% of the population
Yeah.
from even buying one. I can't afford a fucking $10,000 rifle. Are you crazy? Like I gotta buy. I need to move into a house at some point and buy a new car.
Yeah.
That's like if I won the lottery type of.
But I
gun.
mean, that's the point. That like the whole thing is so arbitrary because
Yeah.
there's rifles that capable of those distances that are not on the list, and there's things on those lists that can't even go a quarter of that distance because they weren't designed to. They're designed to have stopping power to put down a charging rhino.
Exactly.
Like, so the number is made up.
Yep.
I mean, it's faker than Trudeau's eyebrow. That's for sure.
And his marriage.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Let's go to
Oh,
Idris
I
Elba
went
for a
there.
comment.
Yeah.
Oh, I went there.
I really wish I had the
So
ability
did-
to like
so did he.
live bring
So did
people
he.
into the. Ooh.
I think there's
Spicy.
more that we don't even know about that have.
Yeah.
That's spicy. So I think that rounds out the legal actions right now. I understand that there were 6 that have been filed, but I think I've only actually been able to find 5.
Yeah,
Well-
I don't know. I'm kind of losing track. I mean, those are the ones we covered tonight are the ones that I am most read up
there's
on.
the CCFR, the KKS,
Yeah,
the Hipwell one,
yeah.
And the Cox one.
the Cox one.
Uh-huh.
There's that other one with the guy in Toronto.
Arkady Buchlev, who I
Yeah,
don't
that
know
one-
that he's actually
I don't know.
filed, and I'm
I was just-
not.
Well, he
Yeah, I
hasn't
was gonna say, I
filed,
don't
but we
know about
know
that one. Yeah.
we know it's pending.
Do
so
we know
that's-
that?
Well, it's supposed to be. Like, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt for now, for
Yeah,
another
yeah.
day or two.
He's got like 2 days, 3 days. Is it 31?
So, like,
maybe?
that,
Yeah, I
that's-
don't really know how it works, but I feel like there's a 30-day window on filing for
Yeah,
this.
I can't imagine it's going to be like, oh, it's
I feel
3
like
years
he's gotta-
later you can file. So, yeah. But I mean,
Technically
that's
got a day.
that's 5. What other ones are going on right now then? I think the CS or CS AAA may have something in the works, but I don't know.
Yeah, they're backing.
Yeah,
I thought they
I
were
don't
backing
know.
the NFA one, but I don't know. I'm
They
not
could
sure.
be.
Yeah. I know I've seen the CS AAA on something as well. I know what you mean.
But yeah, I don't know if
I've
they're just
seen a lot of
supporting.
communication from the CS AAA as a business
I don't.
member.
Yeah, I'm not
I'm
part
aware
of. I'm
what
not
they're
part of them,
doing.
and yeah, I don't get any. I don't get any emails from them. I don't really know much about that
I get some
organization.
pretty good emails from Allison DeGroot is their office manager, communications manager, whatever, and like they send some pretty good emails.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they're like actively doing like legal challenges the same way as the
other
general
group.
member orgs. Well, the
Yeah.
CS AAA is an industry group for businesses in the industry, right?
Yeah.
So it is a much smaller market to pull from, and they're
Yeah.
more about like, hey, this is how you like set up a gun store and do the books and keep an inventory, and this is how you
Yeah.
get help when you need to like do an audit, and this
Yeah,
is
I
how
mean,
you do
very-
import-export paperwork.
Very good group and very knowledgeable people. But yeah, it's not for public consumption. It's for
For businesses.
industries people. Yeah.
Yeah. Industry. So I think this is some good stuff. I think we should remind people, go sign the 3 petitions. If you haven't signed the 3 petitions that are out right now, go sign the 3 petitions. Tell your friends to sign the petition. Get your dog an email account and have him sign the petition.
Yeah.
Sign the bloody petition.
Yeah, and your kids do get them to sign it too.
Your
Mhm.
kids, your
Your
wife, your
spouse.
coworkers, your girlfriend. Don't have
Yeah.
your wife and your girlfriend sign at the same time.
If you've taken, not unless they're into that, but if you've taken anyone out shooting and they've enjoyed it, get them to sign it again so that you can take them out shooting again, and the second time they'll pay for the ammo. Right, like
Yeah. The big new petition 2574 is up to 218,000 signatures, which is good but not
Nice.
great. I mean, it's the biggest one yet, but also it's 10% of firearms owners.
Yeah.
So tell your friends. If your gun club hasn't sent these out yet, go ask your gun club what's wrong with them. And
Yeah,
if
consider joining a different club.
figure out how to send an email, get them in touch with me at the show, and I will tell them how to send the emails to their members. I will do that for
Yeah.
free for them.
Yeah,
We'll
we will
set up their email account for them on
Yeah,
the spot.
if you give us their email account information and password,
Yeah,
we will
I'll
send
do it
the
on the
email
spot.
for them. Yeah.
Like, because of my various organizations that I'm involved in between the Ontario Rifle Association and the Dominion of Canada Rifle Association and my local gun club or gun clubs, I find I am writing a lot of emails lately. And I don't mind doing that. So like I have lots of templates that I can share if your gun club is stuck.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So go sign the petitions, and then go and have everybody you know sign the petitions. Like it's probably not going to change the government's mind, but it does make for a much better barometer every time you get into an argument with someone that says 80% of Canadians want the firearms banned. Okay, well, how come 200,000 people signed a petition saying that this ban is stupid?
Well, I saw one earlier today on the Book of Faces where someone posted an article where it said half of Canadians in cities are for the gun ban. I was like, so that's not even half of Canadians. It's half of Canadians that live in cities.
Great. So people that live in Toronto and Vancouver want guns banned. Cool.
But not even like
not
a majority, only half. And as we know, if it's not a majority and a clear majority,
that's right. Matter. You need that 31%, or otherwise you don't win.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that was Trudeau got 31%. I forget what
something like that. Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, something
clear
crashed.
majority.
And only 21% of the possible voting block as well.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's what it was 21. Okay, well,
it's 31% of the popular vote, and it was 21% of the potential votes that it could have been.
Yeah.
Good, a clear majority, as Gavin says. Gavin, where can everybody find you on the internet?
The best place you can find me is on the gram, urbex_GTA. Follow me there for the latest and greatest of spiciest photos. Or not, just gun stuff.
I was going to say, I think your stuff is mostly gun stuff, but okay.
Yeah, well, that's spicy these days, right? They're all banned.
You've got a badass.
Dave, where can everybody find you?
You could also find me on the IGs at the same as my screen name on here, Diesel6223. Ranges are back open again, so there'll be some more posts coming now. It'll be a bit more steady. A bit of a hiatus there, past especially since COVID hit. There was literally nothing to do, so there'll be more stuff as the summer rolls along.
Right on. If you want to get in touch with the show, I think tentatively next week is going to be a feedback show.
Yeah.
Next Wednesday or Thursday is going to be a feedback show. Whatever our midweek show is next week, because I'm kind of bouncing around on dates. We haven't settled on a midweek date because this whole 2 podcasts of the week thing is really
maybe that's
social time.
How you could respond to the feedback, guys. Tell us what day works for you.
I like that. Well, we do have some feedback, so I do want to do a feedback show for midweek next week. So get your feedback in, feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. Send us an email. Let us know what you think.
Or show ideas. Now that we're doing more like topic type shows. I mean, we're still doing the news, but
kind of more focused.
Yeah. Also, don't forget 4 years ago today was the death of our beloved Harambe. So
today,
everyone take a moment of silence for that.
I'm convinced. I know you just asked for a moment of silence. I'm barreling through because it's a podcast.
It's a very brief moment. Brief moment.
Well, I cut it out in post anyway. But
we'll add a pause.
I won't.
Everyone just pause the podcast, take that moment, and then
I am reasonably convinced that when Harambe was killed, we entered like an alternate dimension, like a different timeline. Like we diverged. And that was the pinnacle moment in our history where everything started to go wrong.
Yeah, we're the dark timeline.
Yeah, the dark. Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. It's the darkest of timelines.
Yeah, that's why we all have beards, because we're all evil usses.
Oh, well, but I had a beard before Harambe got shot.
But it wasn't as majestic as it is now.
That's a good point. It was not as majestic.
That's because we're in the evil timeline. That's
maybe that's. Yeah. I don't know. See, I feel like
I never rocked a beard as hard as I have since Harambe died. That's for sure. Used to be clean shaven.
I feel like that was a pinnacle moment in our history.
Yeah. Also, Vines ended around the same time. I don't know if it was the exact day, but Vines also ended around the same time. And that was also
I'm so glad that Vines ended. I really wish we could figure out how to stop TikToking.
TikTok is the new Vines. That's what it is.
Well,
pretty much.
I want to remind all of our listeners that if you haven't subscribed to my OnlyFans account yet, you're missing out. For only
That's true.
$5 a month, you can see things we don't put on the podcast.
We should totally do a podcast.
I'm not doing an OnlyFans account. I have
It would be
unkind
hilarious.
things. I have unkind
We
things
could
to
do like
say
a shirts off
about
episode
that
or
company.
something.
I have unkind things to say about sex workers.
That
I
would
have
bring all the
unkind
boys.
things to say
That
about
would bring
whole
all the ladies
model.
to the yard.
But it would be funny because we could say things on there and people would pay us for it. I mean, you could just give to
If
our
you want
Patreon
to be
too,
a Patreon. There you go. Thank you.
but it's not as funny as us having an OnlyFans.
Okay, well, maybe we need to get an OnlyFans account. Can more than one person have an Only? I'm not looking into that. Never mind. We're moving on. I have to apologize to Rod Giltaka. He's been busy with his affidavitting, so we look forward to having him on the show.
And his OnlyFans account.
Keep up the good work, chap.
That's right. For Rod's OnlyFans, it's onlyfans.com/Hot Rod Battlestar Galactica. What did Tim call him? Rattlestar?
Battlestar Galactica.
There you
Yeah.
go. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know. Go on OnlyFans, look for Hot Rod. I'm sure it won't fail you at all. While you're there, make sure to check out our boy Idris Elbow. Leaked photos with Sophie, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
For all of our listeners out there in podcast land, I'd like to remind you that you are the true North. Strong and free.